In the search for a missing South Dakota teenager, last seen in metro Atlanta. 19-year-old Morgan Bauer vanished more than a month ago. Tonight, we've learned a big-name private investigator.
Morgan Aaron Bauer was born on April 13, 1996, in Aberdeen, South Dakota, a small town where everyone knew everyone, a place she desperately wanted to leave behind. She graduated from Central High School in 2014. Friends and family described her as someone with presence, vibrant, outgoing, constantly documenting her life on social media. The kind of person who didn't just live quietly. But in early 2016, something changed. Morgan had an argument with her mother, Sherry Keenan. They stopped speaking, and Morgan made a decision. She told her mother she'd be living with 2 housemates. This was a lie. The truth was far more dangerous. Morgan had connected with someone on Craigslist, a stranger offering room and board in exchange for cleaning services. She was about to walk into a situation she couldn't control. February 12, 2016, she left Aberdeen and flew to Atlanta, with $20 borrowed dollars in her pocket. Everything she owned fit in one bag. She was waiting for a $630 tax return to hit her prepaid card. That money was supposed to be her safety net. Within days, the Craigslist arrangement collapsed. The stranger she'd trusted, the room she'd been promised, gone. Morgan was now stranded in an unfamiliar city. No money, no connections, no place to stay. She checked into a hotel, scrambling to figure out her next move. 13 days. That's all the time Morgan had left. By February 25, 2016, she'd found work as a dancer at Top of Gainesville, a gentleman's club located in Gainesville, Georgia, approximately 1 hour north of Atlanta. It wasn't the life she'd imagined, but it was survival. February 25, 2016. Morgan worked her shift as a dancer at Top of Gainesville. When the night ended, she left with a group of people. Among them, another dancer from the club and that dancer's boyfriend. Witnesses later reported seeing them drop Morgan off at a Citgo gas station on Highway 278 in Covington. It was the early morning hours of February 27, 2016. This was believed to be the last time anyone saw Morgan Bauer. But there was a problem with that timeline, a problem investigators wouldn't discover for 7 years. February 26, 2016, one day before the supposed last sighting. Morgan posted a video to Instagram. The footage showed her walking through Yellow River Park in Porterdale, Georgia. Trees, sunshine, a peaceful day. But if you looked closely, you could see something else. A figure following behind her, walking in her shadow. The video raised critical questions. Who was Morgan with at Yellow River Park? Why was she there? And most importantly, what happened after the camera stopped recording? This Instagram post would become the key to solving the mystery of her disappearance. After February 26, 2016, Morgan Bauer went silent. No social media activity, no phone calls, no texts, no banking transactions. Nothing. For a 19-year-old who documented everything online, who was constantly connected, this was a red flag. Something was wrong.
Exclusive new details in the search for a missing South Dakota teenager, last seen in metro Atlanta. 19-year-old Morgan Bauer vanished more than a month ago. Tonight, we've learned a big-name private investigator is on the case. Just hours ago, he spoke with CBS 46 investigative reporter Karen Greer.
We just keep going and keep praying that she'll be found sooner than later.
The family of 19-year-old Morgan Bauer has set up temporary residence at a cheap motel in Atlanta. Coming here last month from South Dakota, her mother, Sherry, is pulling out all the stops to find her. These donated billboards show the small-town teen's innocence. Photos online from the Gainesville strip club where she was last seen publicly tell a much different story of a teenager looking for a new life in the big city. Private investigator T.J. Ward, perhaps well known for his work in the case of missing high school student Natalie Holloway in Aruba, now hired to help find Morgan.
There's a lot of Facebook activity, whether it's her or friends that know where she is. But there's things that's changed as late as last night on her Facebook, and we're looking into that right now.
The page Ward is referring to is not Morgan's personal page, which hasn't been updated since she disappeared, but rather a public site with thousands of people posting comments and alleged sightings. Morgan was last seen and on social media February 25th.
there was a lot of pressure on her. And in this day and time, kids, when they get pressure, they run. And they think the grass is greener on the other side, which it isn't. And a short-term fix of making money is not the answer.
This is Tapa Gainesville. She came to work here that night and left and has not been heard from since.
That same night. The latest Facebook posts have sightings of Morgan in the Canton and Woodstock area. Ward is checking into it and adds nothing can be assumed.
This is a serious criminal investigation. And the City of Atlanta Homicide Unit is responsible for this. And these people online need to be very serious about what's going on. This is not a joke.
Ward says social media may be a blessing or curse in this case. With so many postings and so many people claiming to have seen Morgan, it keeps them busy. But they have to check into every lead because you never know which one will help them solve this case.
March 12th, 2016. Morgan's family officially reported her missing to the Atlanta Police Department. For 7 years, Sherry Keenan searched for her daughter. She distributed thousands of flyers across Atlanta. She appeared on every news station that would have her. She set up a tip line, 1-855-MORGANB. She posted a $10,000 reward. Sherry moved to Florida, but never stopped looking. She organized billboards. She hired private investigators. Every year, on the anniversary of Morgan's disappearance, she held a vigil. The case went cold. Leads dried up. Most people moved on, but not Sherry. In 2023, at the 7th year vigil, she made a statement. "I'm not ready to say goodbye until she's found."
It's 3.5 years since a woman moved from South Dakota to Atlanta and then suddenly disappeared. She hasn't been seen or heard from since. Today, Morgan Bauer's mother came to downtown Atlanta to let people know about her daughter's case.
At a community event in downtown Atlanta,
"This is my daughter, Morgan. She's been missing in Atlanta for 3.5 years.
Sherry Keenan is handing out photos and missing persons flyers today of her daughter, Morgan Bauer.
There isn't a lot of information out there. Morgan is a cold case, but an active case of the Atlanta Police Department."
Keenan remains hopeful her daughter is somewhere in town or elsewhere and is safe.
We hope that somehow she sees this on the news and she knows that we're still searching for her and will never stop looking.
Atlanta police still have Bauer's case listed online, but new leads are needed. Morgan is described as having her ears gauged, lips pierced twice, and has several tattoos. Keenan says a $10,000 reward is being offered in her daughter's case.
Anybody who knows anything or has seen anything, please just reach out. It just takes one moment.
In downtown Atlanta, I'm Joe Hankey, 11 Alive News.
Now, before now, police believe that Morgan went missing 7 years ago tomorrow on February 25th. But our 11 Alive investigators have discovered a discrepancy that could shift that timeline.
2023. 7 years after Morgan vanished, investigators were still working the cold case, still reviewing evidence, still searching for any lead that might explain what happened to Morgan Bauer. Then they discovered something that had been hiding in plain sight for 7 years. Morgan's Instagram video from February 26, 2016, the one showing her at Yellow River Park, the one with the shadowy figure following behind her. Morgan's mother, Sherry Keenan, had received a screenshot of this video and provided it to investigators. When detectives analyzed the footage carefully, they noticed something crucial: the figure in the background, the person following Morgan through the park. They could identify him. It was a man who had been on their radar from the beginning, someone who had been with Morgan the night she disappeared, someone who claimed he'd dropped her off at a gas station and never saw her again. But this video told a different story. This video placed him with Morgan on February 26, 2016, not February 25th, as he'd claimed. This video showed he'd lied about the timeline, and when investigators dug deeper, they found something else. This man had lived at a specific property in Porterdale, Georgia, the same town where Yellow River Park was located, the same area where Morgan had last been seen. The pieces were coming together. July 27th, 2023. Armed with this new evidence, law enforcement moved. The FBI arrived at 2 South Broad Street in Porterdale, Georgia. They weren't alone. Porterdale Police, Atlanta Police Department, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, even law enforcement from Peoria, Illinois. They had a search warrant. They had probable cause. They had reason to believe this property held the answer to what happened to Morgan Bauer. They searched for an entire day.
They recovered. They're not really sharing that information publicly. And of course, Morgan is still considered a missing person.
Morgan's mother, Sherry, says authorities have kept her in the loop as much as they can.
They've made it very comfortable for me to be able to feel
very much a part of what's happening, even though there's not a lot of information that they can give me. They've been very inclusive.
And within the whirlwind of emotions that came from yesterday's breakthrough is sympathy for the owners of the property, who authorities say have been cooperative.
My heart just goes out to that family, and they must be going through a lot, also. And it must be very upsetting for them. And so my heart just goes out to everyone involved. At this point, after 7 years, I feel like, in my heart, I already kind of know if I found something, I'm going to do what I said I would. I'm going to go to Atlanta and I'm going to bring my daughter home.
When they emerged, they announced they had recovered items of evidentiary interest. After 7 years, Morgan Bauer had been found. Her remains, bones buried on the property, right where they'd been
sadly,
hidden
it would be
since
here
2016.
that Morgan's missing persons case
The
would
Instagram
become
video had
a
led
murder
investigators
investigation.
directly to her.
Her bones were found
August
on the property.
2023, less than 1 month after Morgan's remains were discovered. The investigation had moved quickly. The Instagram video, the property search, the recovered remains. Everything pointed to 2 specific individuals. 2 people were taken into custody. 2 people who had been living freely for 7 years while Morgan's mother searched desperately for answers. Jonathan Alexander Warren, age 33, arrested in Los Angeles, California. Caitlin Goebel, age 27, arrested in Peoria, Illinois. Now the full picture emerged. Remember the dancer who left the club with Morgan on February 25, 2016? The one who worked alongside her at Top of Gainesville? That was Caitlin Goebel. And the boyfriend who came with them? Jonathan Warren. In 2016, Warren and Goebel were in a relationship. They lived together at 2 South Broad Street in Porterdale, the exact property where Morgan's remains had just been discovered. They had been the last people seen with Morgan. They had lied about the timeline. And now, investigators knew why.
Breaking news at 9, we just learned 2 people arrested in connection to a Metro Atlanta cold case from 7 years ago.
Well, Tori, we've been reporting on this since a little over a week ago, and this is a major break in a case that her loved ones feared was cold.
The Instagram video that Sherry Keenan had provided to police, the one showing Morgan at Yellow River Park on February 26, 2016, that shadowy figure following behind her was Jonathan Warren. This evidence was crucial. It proved Warren and Goebel had taken Morgan to the park on February 26th. It proved they'd lied about when they last saw her. It connected them directly to Morgan on the day she vanished. Combined with the discovery of Morgan's remains on the property where they had lived, investigators had enough evidence to make arrests.
Last night we first reported that the 2 suspects in the 2016 disappearance of Morgan Bauer are facing new charges in that investigation. Jonathan Warren and Caitlin Goebel are both facing murder and aggravated assault charges.
But the arrests raised an even darker question. What had Warren and Goebel done to Morgan Bauer? October 2023. The indictments were unsealed. The public learned exactly what had been done to Morgan Bauer. The allegations painted a horrifying picture of Morgan's final hours. February 26, 2016. Morgan was at the house on South Broad Street with Warren and Goebel, the same people who had befriended her, offered her help, gained her trust. According to prosecutors, they strangled her, both of them, hands around her neck until she stopped breathing. Then came the desecration. Warren allegedly engaged in sexual acts with Morgan's body after death. But the horror didn't end there. They dismembered her, cut her body into pieces, kept the remains at the house for 3 days, then placed everything in a suitcase and burned it in the backyard. Both Jonathan Warren and Caitlin Goebel were charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, concealing the death of another Warren faced 1 additional charge. Necrophilia. The goal was complete destruction. No body, no evidence, no trace that Morgan Bauer had ever been there. For 7 years it worked. Morgan's bones remained buried on that property while her mother searched desperately, while investigators followed dead ends, while Warren and Goebel lived their lives free, until July 2023, when the truth finally came to light.
I do feel alone just because it's hard for anybody to understand what this feels like.
But tonight, Sherry Keenan isn't alone.
And we just pray that
these people joined in hand and spirit to remember Morgan at a vigil.
I hope that it connects to somebody. I just am trying to just be really here, humbly, and just laying prayers.
I'm so grateful that you all took time out to be here today.
She's been waiting to find her daughter for 7 years.
Thank you.
Never giving up hope of a happy ending.
And I think just that collective moment of everybody just making the same wish or the same prayer or the same thought in the same intention, can create miracles.
As the case developed, investigators uncovered disturbing information about Caitlin Goebel. Jonathan Warren told authorities that Goebel had a fascination with forensic pathology. More specifically, she had expressed a desire to murder someone so she could dismember their body. This wasn't a passing comment, it was a stated goal. Prosecutors presented evidence from Goebel's social media accounts. TikTok videos discussing serial killers, posts about occult practices, a video showing her holding what appeared to be a severed head, footage with the Satanic Bible visible in the frame, written notes about death. The prosecution argued this evidence was essential. It showed premeditation, intent, a pattern of obsession that culminated in Morgan's murder. Defense attorneys fought to keep the evidence out, arguing it was prejudicial. The court hearings continued into October 2025, with judges weighing whether this material could be presented to a jury. The question being debated: was this a random act of violence, or had Caitlin Goebel been waiting for the right victim to fulfill her dark fantasy? Morgan Bauer, young and vulnerable and desperate for help, may have been exactly what Goebel was looking for. January 10th, 2024. Jonathan Warren appeared in Newton County Court. He entered a non-negotiated guilty plea. No deal with prosecutors, no bargaining. Just an admission of guilt on all charges: malice murder, tampering with evidence, concealing the death of another. Necrophilia Warren asked the court for mercy. He requested life in prison with the possibility of parole. The prosecution disagreed. They argued that the nature of the crimes warranted the harshest possible sentence. The strangulation, the necrophilia, the dismemberment, the burning, the 7 years of concealment while Morgan's family suffered. The judge sided with the prosecution. Jonathan Alexander Warren was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He will never be released. He will die behind bars. As of now, Caitlin Goebel remains in the Newton County Detention Center. No bond, awaiting trial. Her case is still moving through the court system. Hearings continued through October 2025, addressing motions about evidence admissibility, the questions about her social media posts, the occult material, the stated desire to kill and dismember. She faces the same charges as Warren, minus the necrophilia: malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, tampering with evidence, concealing the death of another. If convicted, she faces life in prison. The difference is this: Warren admitted his guilt and accepted his punishment. Goebel is fighting. Her defense team is working to exclude damaging evidence. There will be a trial. There will be testimony. The full story of what happened to Morgan Bauer will be presented to a jury, and that jury will decide Caitlin Goebel's fate. Remember the video Morgan posted on February 26, 2016? The one that showed her walking through Yellow River Park with someone following behind her? For 7 years, that video was a mystery. Who was filming? Who was the figure in the background? The answer became clear during the investigation. That figure was Jonathan Warren. He was with Morgan at the park, hours before she was killed. Possibly even the same day. She had no idea what was about to happen. No idea that the person behind her would soon take her life. In July 2023, investigators finally found Morgan. Her bones were recovered from the property where she had been killed and concealed. Jonathan Warren is serving life in prison without parole. He will never walk free. Caitlin Goebel awaits trial. Her fate will be decided by a jury. Sherry Keenan finally has answers. Not the answers she wanted, not the ending she prayed for. The mystery of Morgan Bauer's disappearance has been solved. But the questions remain. How did Morgan end up at that house? What led Warren and Goebel to target her? Was this planned, or did it happen spontaneously? Did Morgan sense danger before it was too late? We may never know all the details. Some secrets died with Morgan that day in 2016. Morgan's story is a tragedy, but it's also a reminder that even when cases go cold, even when years pass without answers, the truth can still emerge. Justice can still be served. And families like Sherry Keenan, who never give up hope, can finally find peace.